The Street Files. A complete mystery short story every Wednesday. File 19. Departure Gate. Heathrow Airport's Terminal 5 is packed with people as Olivia and Poppy Street push through the doors after taking the bus from the parking. They check in and go through passport control, then decide to eat airside as they have an hour and a half before their flight to Paris Charles de Gaulle and a weekend break in the French capital. Poppy watches the display boards, and 20 minutes before their departure, their flight is called to Gate A28. They go to level 4, then start the 5-minute walk to their gate. Before they reach their destination, they both see a group of about 10 people gathered in a crowd. As they pass, Poppy diverts to see what it is, and Olivia stops in the middle of the walkway to wait for her daughter. When she returns, the teenager says, "Mum, there's an air hostess over there. She's collapsed. Has anyone called the paramedics?" "Yeah, some woman did. They're on their way. It only happened a minute ago. Come and see, you know a bit about medical stuff." They walk over to the group. A blonde flight attendant is kneeling down and leaning over her dark-haired colleague on the floor. Olivia goes down on her haunches. "Can I see?" she says, and Olivia puts 2 fingers on the neck of the prone woman. "Do you work together?" she says. "Yes, we're on our way to the gate." "What happened?" "She said she felt dizzy, then collapsed." "Do you know if she's got any history of this sort of thing?" "She's never said. We work together every week on short haul, Paris mostly." There's a noise behind them. 2 paramedics arrive, and Olivia and the flight attendant get out of their way. "There's no pulse," says Olivia to one of them. They do their checks, then start CPR, chest compressions, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, use a defibrillator, and finally inject the woman intravenously. A police officer arrives from the SO18, Metropolitan Police's Aviation Security Branch, and he corrals the crowd back to let the medics work. But everyone is silent when the 2 medical staff eventually look at each other and agree to stop. They pull out a plastic sheet to cover the woman's body, and the policeman tapes off the area. The blonde flight attendant is in tears, and she's sitting on one of the rows of plastic seating at an adjacent departure gate. Olivia and Poppy walk over and sit down to comfort her. "She was only my age," she says. "Do you know why she died?" "Cardiac arrest," says Olivia. "She could have had a condition that she didn't know about." "You knew her well, did you?" "Yes." "Did she take drugs? That could affect the heart's electrics." "She didn't like that sort of thing. She was quiet. Used to go to bed early if we had a stopover somewhere." Voices start to curl in on the air, and the woman looks up. "Oh God, Alan Teal. Causing a fuss as usual. It's always about him. He's our captain." The man with the loud voice and black hair quizzes the police officer about what's going to happen, but he gets few answers. Then he sees the flight attendant with Olivia and Poppy, and he walks over. "You're right, Amanda." The woman smiles non-committally. "Bloody police won't tell me anything." "They can't if you're not related." "How do you know?" "I'm a lawyer." "Can we talk?" he says, and he nods his head to one side. Olivia stands up and they walk 20 feet away to be out of earshot of anyone else. "Look, there could be some difficulties here," he says. He minutely squints his dark brown eyes. "I may need some legal advice." "Are you asking me to represent you, Captain, in any police investigation that comes out of this woman's death?" "Yeah." He's curt. "Your name's Alan Teal, is that right?" He nods. "Tell me the background."
Jennifer and I, that's the dead girl, Jennifer Lark and I, have slept together a few times.
And you're married?
Yeah,
he says. That's not illegal, Alan. Your wife may be unhappy, though. Do you think that you contributed to Jennifer's death?
I don't know.
She pauses. That's not a denial. Were you involved in some way?
Maybe.
Go on.
It's complicated.
I charge by the hour, Alan. Take as long as you like.
She wanted to end it.
And you didn't?
Not yet.
His eyes shift in the light. Can I ask you, she says, is she the latest in a long line of cabin crew in your bed?
I wouldn't say that.
Why did she want to stop?
She'd met someone.
And you don't know who? She says, and he shakes his head. Over on the seating, Poppy turns to Amanda. Why don't you like the captain? He's all ego. Ego on legs, says the air hostess. Does that sort of job attract that sort of bloke? She says. Not all of them, says Amanda. If he wants to talk to my mum, there's something he's worried about? What do you think that is? Amanda looks across at Olivia and Captain Teal. Jennifer was his girlfriend, she says. He has a wedding ring on. Yeah, Jennifer wasn't his wife. Two other flight attendants approach them, and Amanda turns to Poppy. This is Sally and Margot, the rest of the cabin crew. My mum's over there talking to your captain. She's a lawyer, says Poppy to the new arrivals. All of them look at the captain now. Protecting himself, says Sally, who has auburn hair in a ponytail and dark green eyes. What was the name of the lady who died? Says Poppy. Jennifer Lark. What was she like? Always had to have a boyfriend. Hated being alone. Jeff was a new one. Who's Jeff? First officer, says Margot, pushing her dark hair back off her face. The bloke who sits next to the captain, that no one knows what they do. The air hostesses all smile at that. Dark of the devil, says Amanda, and she nods upwards towards a tall and handsome man with brown hair and brown eyes, who has just arrived. We're cancelled, girls, he says as he arrives in the group. They've moved the passengers to other flights. Do we get the day off, Jeff? Says Amanda. He frowns. Who's this? He says, looking at Poppy. My mum's talking to your captain over there. She's a lawyer. Jeff turns his head and watches Olivia and Alan Teal talking. He needs a lawyer, does he? You're his friend, Jeff, says Margot. Has he done something? No smoke without fire. He looks worried over there. Poppy can see Olivia and Alan Teal have finished their conversation, and she runs over to her mother, as Olivia is walking back. Mum, has he employed you? Yes. I'm not clear why, apart from he was sleeping with the deceased, and feels there's a risk for him being involved in some way. Those three over there are the rest of the crew? Says Poppy, waving her hand in the direction of the flight attendants. They're all very different. Come with me to talk to this policeman, says Olivia, and they walk over to the officer. Constable, I'm a lawyer representing an interested party in this death. Can you tell me anything? Initial findings only, madam, he says. The medics have verified the death and have recommended a coroner referral. So it's suspicious, she says. He nods. Puncture wound in the arm, they said. One of her colleagues in the cabin crew told me that she wasn't a drug user. No, not multiple needle marks, madam. Just one. That's all they said, anyway. As they finished their conversation, they can see the captain and the first officer walking away along the corridor. Let's talk to the cabin crew, Poppy. Maybe they can provide some background to allow us to advise our client and allay his concerns about his affair getting out. When they reach the air hostesses, she says, Can you help with a couple of things, ladies? Can we move our tickets to another flight due to the cancellation? And could we all have a chat somewhere? I'd like to know more about Jennifer Lark. I'll get your tickets moved, says Sally. We'll go to Café Jumbo, says Margot. The staff canteen. They walk down one level, and the women sign Olivia and Poppy in as guests to the vast behind-the-scenes eatery. It has dozens of seats and crew dotted about, between flights or waiting to board. One wall is all glass, with a view of the gates and the planes, surrounded by a gaggle of tankers, tugs, and catering trucks. Sally turns to Poppy. I'm getting vegetarian because I'm diabetic. Do you want to come to the salad bar? The teenager nods, and when they reach the queue, Poppy says, Tell me about Jennifer. She was untrustworthy. Sally picks up a plate and starts to look at the food options laid out before them. She used to tell people what they wanted to hear rather than the truth. She didn't like upsetting people, I suppose. But who does? Some people get off on it. Trolls aren't only online, says Poppy. What did she lie to you about? She didn't tell me she was sleeping with the captain. In the other queue, Olivia and the two air hostesses buy their food and bring their plates back to the table. I need to make a call, says Amanda, and she leaves Olivia and Margot alone. What do you think of the captain? I fancied him, but he turned me down. In Rome it was. We had a 2-day stopover because a plane was out of place in the schedule. I just asked him like a man would. I didn't know Jennifer was in his bed that night. Did you get on with her? I'm more of a man's woman, you know. I get bored with all this girl talk stuff. I really don't care which mascara you use. Margot lifts a fork of shepherd's pie to her mouth. Jennifer wanted to stop seeing the captain, says Olivia. Do you know why? Yeah, she was moving on with Jeff. He's single and a nice guy. Do you know if the captain knew that his girlfriend wanted to stop seeing him so that she could start seeing his first officer? Knowing Alan, probably not. What about the other girls in the crew? Tell me about them, says Olivia. Sally's a wet wipe. Wouldn't hurt to fly. Knits her own porridge at the weekend sort of person, you know. Amanda can be brutal with put-downs out of the blue. She understands what made people tick, but for no apparent reason suddenly tells them what she thinks of them. I'm tough, but she's done it to me and it hits like a bullet the first time. On the other side of the giant room, Amanda finds a quiet corner and pulls out her phone. She sends a message, then raises her eyes to the captain and the first officer, who are sitting 30 yards away, at a table. Jeff looks at his phone. He's experienced enough at being underhand to not look up at her in front of the captain. But he says something, then stands up and walks off to the bathrooms on the far side. Amanda skirts around the outside of the room and waits for Jeff to reappear from the gents. When he does so, he looks across to check the captain isn't looking, then walks to Amanda. Is he suspicious? She says immediately. No, he's more worried about his marriage and his wife finding out that his mistress is dead. He's appointed that lawyer woman to defend him, says Amanda. God, he's such an egotist. We need to keep our nerve. He looks directly at her. A bloody heart attack just at the wrong time. The police will start asking questions. If we're busted, I'll... Jeff looks puzzled. You'll what? Protect myself. At my expense, presumably, you mean? His face screws up. Every man for himself, Mr. First Officer. There's no need to get all flustered. It's the two of us in this together, Amanda. That's the only way it'll work out. How long do investigations take into deaths? She says. Could we get that lawyer woman to hurry it all up? That's not the way it works. His face looks incredulous. Lawyers just put forward the defence, while the police and prosecutors put forward the case. She won't be able to get them to go faster. Think, Amanda, for God's sake. And keep your mouth shut. If you go spouting some old garbage, telling people to move faster, you'll only draw attention to yourself. That lawyer is talking to Alan again, says Amanda, and they both look over. as Olivia drops into the seat opposite the captain. "Alan," she says, "let's talk more. How do you and your first officer get along?"
"Very well indeed. Jeff's a reliable bloke. Just what you need sitting beside you in the right-hand seat. If I was suddenly incapacitated, I need to know he can take over."
"Is the idea that he will become a captain eventually?"
"He says no. He likes the more relaxed schedule of first officer. You don't need to take everything that your captain has as your own."
"Do you know anything about his personal life?" she says.
"No, not really. Single, isn't he?"
says Alan.
"We don't talk about it. More sport, you know. We're both big F1 fans."
"Has he slept with any member of the crew?" says Olivia, and she watches his face intently to see if he lies.
"No idea. I don't want to know either."
"Aren't you responsible for the crew and their effectiveness?" she says.
"What are you getting at?"
"Would it surprise you to know that Jennifer wanted to end it with you because she'd started seeing your first officer?" He is silent. "We have client privilege, Alan, so I need to ask you. Did you find out that she was leaving you for Jeff? Because that's a motive for potential crime."
"No, that's ridiculous."
"Which bit? That she would leave you, or that you would commit a crime?"
"She had a heart attack, didn't she? No one killed her. There was no crime."
"How do you know about the heart attack, Alan?"
He stops to think. The policeman at the barrier told me."
"Shall I confirm that with him?"
"You go ahead." He's getting frustrated. "Are you trying to get me to confess to the killing of my girlfriend?"
"My job is to get clarity and advise you on your best options if you're innocent. But if you're guilty, my role changes to ensuring that you are treated fairly in the legal process."
He frowns again.
"Let's do this formally," she says. "Were you involved in any way with the death of Jennifer Locke?"
"No, I was not."
"Thank you," she says. "I accept that statement from you in good faith, Alan. Let's go back to Jennifer. If she was starting a relationship with Jeff, what can you tell me about him aside from his professional skills, reliability, and love of car racing?"
"I just don't know him like that. We're co-pilots. That's where it starts and ends."
At the air hostess's table, Poppy and Sally arrive with their salads, and Sally injects her insulin before she eats. "Fancy a life in the sky, Poppy, like us?" Margot looks at her. "Not really, sorry. Not my thing." "What is your thing?" says Margot. "A lawyer like your mum." "Yeah, I'm doing law at uni," she says. "How did you get into air hostessing?" "I was a party girl, clubs at 16. Nearly married a DJ. Lucky escape." She smiles. "A girlfriend was doing this and I saw the lifestyle on Instagram. It looked cool." "And is it?" "It is what it is," says Margot. "Waitress of the air, with 3-day holiday breaks in between. Most people are lovely, which makes up for the small number of wankers who think they own you." Margot drinks her coffee, then continues. "I saw you and your mum talking to the policeman. Do they think she died of natural causes?" "It's inconclusive," says Poppy. "But the coroner will make an assessment." "What's that mean?" says Sally. "If a death is suspicious, the police ask the coroner to investigate, or the police investigate for them. They think she was killed, that means," says Sally. "Poor kid." Olivia has finished asking the latest questions she had for Alan Teal, and she stands up, then makes a beeline for the first officer as he talks to Amanda. "Excuse me," she says. "You're Jeff, aren't you? Could we talk alone?" "I'll see you later, Jeff," says Amanda, and she scuttles off back to the table with Poppy and the other flight attendants. Olivia suggests to Jeff that they get coffees, and they buy cappuccinos. Then he says that he has a key to a viewing lounge next to the restaurant, where it will be more private. When they walk inside, he locks the door she notices. There are plastic seats all facing the windows, and they sit down. "Tell me about Jennifer Lark," she says. "Good at her job, experienced, friendly, spoke French and a bit of Italian. Anything else?" He shakes his head and turns his mouth down at the corners, then sips his drink. "You had a personal relationship with her, I understand." He pauses as he assesses how to talk to this woman, and particularly how much of the truth he should tell. He drinks again and says, "Yes, just the start of something." "You know who her last boyfriend was?" He nods in silence. "What sort of man is Alan Teal when it comes to personal matters? Would this have caused difficulties on the flight deck?" "Not at all." He's definitive. "Alan's not possessive?" "He's married. He can hardly complain, can he?" says Jeff. "He could have complained, or made your life difficult. He's got an ego. Does he think the world revolves around him?" "No more than any other captain." "That's a yes, is it?" She keeps the pressure on him and continues. "What's your relationship with Amanda? I noticed the two of you talking intimately in the restaurant. Are you close?" "I'm not sleeping with her, if that's what you mean." "What then? You were furtive with her. Your body language gave away that there's something between you. What is that?" He drinks to avoid answering, then shakes his head. "The girls in the cabin like you, Jeff. Do you like attention?" "Who doesn't?" "Some hate it. Just want to remain in the shadows. But not you. Do you like to be the man for all seasons, charming the ladies, and talking sport with the men?" "I'm social, sure," he says. "That's not a crime, is it?" "Murder is a crime, though, Jeff." His face changes and becomes serious. "Jennifer was murdered." "That's sad. Sad. Such a young age." "You're not very sad, though, are you? I know pretense, and you're doing that now. You're not emotional about your new girlfriend dying only a couple of hours ago. How do you explain that?" "I'm a man. We move on." "With the greatest respect, Jeff, that's simply not the case. Men and women are both as emotional as each other, in general. It manifests differently, certainly. But there's no sadness in your behaviour. Were the two of you not getting along, despite it being only the early days of your intimacy?" He is sullen now. "When you were talking about Amanda just now, you were talking about a friend and colleague. There was no emotion. But when you talk about Jennifer, you're different, but not closer. You're noticeably distant, as though you're protecting yourself from some unpalatable truth about her." "They're all just colleagues." He makes a polite smile. "Did you kill her, Jeff?" He laughs mildly and shakes his head in disbelief. "You don't deny it," says Olivia. "I didn't kill her. Look, I need to go. I'm under no obligation to talk to you." He stands up, unlocks the door, and hurries away. At the table in Cafe Jumbo, Sally is rifling through her handbag and getting frustrated. "Are you okay?" says Poppy. "I must have left my spare insulin pens in the hotel this morning," she says. "I'll have to go and get them." "Did you stay in a hotel at the airport then? Don't you all go home when your shift ends in London?" "We crewed the last flight in from Paris Charles de Gaulle last night. We get rooms in a hotel on site when it's late, so we don't all have to go home at 3 o'clock in the morning." Sally hurries away to recover her injector pens. In the corridor, after talking to Jeff, Olivia decides to go and visit the policeman again to see if there's any update on the investigation. The same man is at the cordon when she arrives, although the body has been removed now, and a forensics officer is taking samples across the floor and seating where Jennifer had been. Any news, officer?
I haven't, madam, but Charlie might. He turns to the forensics officer. Any news, Charlie? This is a lawyer on the case? The forensics officer puts the sample bag that he was filling into a metal attaché case, and he walks over. Nothing yet until we get this lot back in the lab, he says. We did get the blood test results back that the paramedics took. Can you share them? She says. Charlie walks to his case and returns with a tablet computer, which he interrogates. Yeah, here we are. Blood glucose levels indicate hypoglycemia from an insulin overdose. She was diabetic. No. Someone spiked her. There are no more significant results, so Olivia returns to the doors of the restaurant. And as she arrives, Poppy, the flight crew, and the cabin crew are all coming back out. Can we chat, Poppy? She says, and the mother and daughter step to one side. Did any of the air hostesses mention that they're diabetic? Has you been chatting? Yeah, Sally is. The ginger-haired one there? The quiet one. Why? Death was caused by insulin overdose. She lost her spare injector pens, she said. And she thought she'd left them in the hotel. But she couldn't find them. They walk over to the group. Ladies and gentlemen, says Olivia, could we all briefly go into the viewing lounge over there? I think you have a key, Jeff. The 7 of them go in, and everyone's eyes are full of expectation. We've talked to all of you, and I have some news, begins Olivia. Jennifer died from being injected with an overdose of insulin. Everyone turns to look at Sally, who suddenly looks frightened. Sally, you're diabetic, is that right? Says Olivia. The woman nods fearfully. And I believe you lost your spare insulin pens. Tears well in Sally's eyes as she stands there. Were you involved with Jennifer's death, Sally? No. How do you account for losing your pens? They must have been stolen. I leave them about all the time. It could easily happen. Where'd you leave them about? Says Poppy. In the hotel rooms. We have 2 cabin crew sharing, and I'm messy. They're always complaining. I never know where my stuff is, but I keep my pens safe. I need them. Who did you share with last night? Says Olivia. Margot. All eyes turn to Margot. Nothing to do with me. She's the one with the pens. Anyone could take 'em. All of us girls are in and out of each other's rooms all the time on stopovers. It's more likely to be you, Amanda, with your little smuggling operation that you think is a secret. What? Says the captain. Diamonds, says Margot. Bought in Paris and shipped to London. 2 or 3 each trip. She thinks we don't know. Shut up, Margot. You're always mouthing off. I suppose you're the one that told Jennifer, are you? The group goes quiet. Jennifer found out about your smuggling. Did she, Amanda? Did she threaten to expose you? Nosy cow. And you had to shut her up, did you, Amanda? Stole Sally's pens and injected Jennifer while she was asleep, while you shared the room last night in the hotel. Was that it? Amanda makes a sudden run for the doorway, but when she tries the handle, it's locked. Olivia turns to her daughter. Poppy, can you go up and fetch the police officer from the crime scene? Amanda has something to tell him. The Street Files, a complete mystery short story, every Wednesday.